Hi, I'm Sam, and this is my advocacy video. Um, Today, I'm going to be talking about childhood hunger and why it's so important that the United States, along with the rest of the world, starts to find ways to counter childhood hunger. I don't think people understand how important it is and why we really need to start looking for ways to make sure that children don't go hungry, and then we really need to just really make sure that this problem is not as big a problem that it is, because I don't think people understand how big of a problem it is. 1 in 5 children in the United States don't know where they're going to get their next meal, and 1 in 5 children aren't going to get their next meal. And to put that into like a number, that's roughly 14 million kids don't know where they're going to get their next meal from, and that is a really big number. Like, that many people don't know or won't get the food that they need to properly function, and I don't think that people understand the extent of the problem of childhood hunger. I think people kind of brush it off. Like, we know it's there, we know it's a problem, we know that the problem exists, but I don't think a lot of people care that it exists, if that makes sense. I feel like people look for other issues and kind of like leave this one in the shadow of those other issues that might be considered bigger. But childhood hunger is such a big issue. If we start looking at it, like, if we're not giving the children of the United States the food that they need to grow and learn and just function in general, then we're setting ourselves up for failure, because the children that aren't learning in schools because they're hungry, or aren't like progressing because they're hungry, or aren't doing what they need to do to like become adults, like functioning human beings, because they're hungry, those are the children who are gonna run the United States, or run the world one day. We need to make sure that we protect them, and we need to make sure that we give them everything they need to do to become strong and educated individuals. And without food, they can't do that. And I think that that's so important, but I think that people often don't see that side of it. Like, they're like, yes, we know they're hungry kids. We know that there are kids that don't have food, and like, especially when you don't see that happening, or you're not, you don't know someone who it's happening to, you kind of brush that to the side. You're like, it doesn't matter, like, someone else is worrying about it, but this is everybody's problem. This is not just their problem, this is our problem too, because we need to make sure that they can lead the world one day. They can run the world one day, because that's what they're going to do. Lack of hunger can affect all kinds of people, from low-income families to families that only have one parent, to just families all over the country. It doesn't just affect one like dynamic, or like one group of people. It affects a large group of people. You might not know that it's affecting somebody, but it is. I mean, 1 in 5 children, if you look at that, in one classroom, there's probably like 4 or 5 kids who don't know where they're going to get their next meal from. The effects of childhood hunger: it can cause poor academic performance, increased health problems, and developmental issues. And this isn't good, because, like I said, if they aren't able to learn, and they have all these health problems, and they can't develop and become functioning adults, how can we expect them to run the world one day and make the world a better place? I just think that we need to start like grasping how important of a situation this is, and grasping why we need to end child hunger. And some ways that we can do that are food programs, where you donate cans of food, or you go give lunches to kids who don't have food, or you send money to places where they can help give kids that don't have food. I mean, that is so important, and I just think that we need to understand why that's so important. And I hope that this video helped advocate for the hungry children, and helped you learn why we need to take it seriously.